Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope the holiday season is treating you well. I'm finally seeing the sun again. I'm telling you, I was about to have a melt. I was about to lose my mind yesterday. Yesterday had been like 7 days in a row without a peek at the sun, or at least 6 days in a row. Sometimes I get that backwards. So today we have sunshine. I think we're going to have sunshine for a few days, so I'm going to try to be outside as much as possible and enjoy it. But today I just want to talk about some raw vegan diet myths to help you start the year right. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, why don't you go down there and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Just thought I'd kind of stay in the spirit of getting ready for the new year and just throw some stuff out there that might be relevant to beginners. Or people that are starting over, or people that have seen the channel for the first time. And let me say, going into it, number one, every video that I make is my opinion. I don't think I'm a know-it-all. I don't do these videos like this is the law, this is the way it is. Just coming from my standpoint, my 2 cents worth. And another thing too, and listen very closely, because listening comprehension and reading comprehension are not very high these days. Everything I say, yes, there are exceptions to it, but I deal in numbers. I like to deal in statistics. I like to deal in things like that. What is? So I'm always talking about if you're based on 100 people, this is what we're usually looking at for most of the people. Yes, yes, yes. There's always going to be an exception, but no, don't necessarily jump to the conclusion always that you are that exception. One of the things, talking about weight loss again. Talking about weight loss. And a lot of times it's like, I'm not going to go in there and correct everything, and I don't necessarily go back and respond to everything that I just think is ludicrous. But a lot of times the things on weight loss, the fruit will make you fat. You hear that from non-vegans, you hear that from vegans, you hear that from fruit people, and you hear it from people that have not been successful on their lifestyle, on this lifestyle, and they go looking for reasons. And sometimes they use bad logic getting there. The fruit is not going to make you fat. For most people, the large majority of people, it's what you're eating with that fruit that's making you fat. Please, please, please listen to that. That's why conventional wisdom, I do agree with that when somebody tells somebody that's on the standard American diet that the fruit can make them fat. If they're eating typical like the standard American diet and then just eating a bunch of fruit in addition to that, oh yeah, quite possible, quite actually probably going to happen. Probable is the word I was looking for, is going to make you fat. But if you're eating right, listen, been doing this thing coming up on 10 years, and I've never been able to get enough fruit to make me fat. And sometimes I almost wish the fruit would put weight on you, because for 10 years, haven't struggled with my weight one time, and I wasn't a naturally thin person before I got into this. I was a fat kid. I won't say I struggled with weight as an adult, but I always had to work to get it back off. So the fruit is not going to make you fat. On another thing too that you hear about it from lots of different people is that that all this fruit is going to give you high blood sugar. The fruit, natural sugars that we take in from any of the carbohydrates, is not what's going to give you diabetes or give you high blood sugar. That is a fat issue. The sugar flows through our veins, like on the fruit sugar, it actually powers us. What happen and it generally goes through our bloodstream, in and out pretty quick, pretty efficiently, unless you're eating too much fat. When you're eating too much fat, it gunks it up and it keeps that blood sugar in your system longer, and that's what leads to high blood sugar. And that's not the most scientific explanation. You can look out that, but high blood sugar, diabetes is more of a fat issue than it is a sugar issue. Another one that I don't hear people make direct comments as much, but I see a lot of people that put content out on this, and I've kind of seen this in different groups that I've been in over the years. The raw vegan diet is not going to make you bulletproof against sickness and disease. It's not a cure everything. It's not just like this magic thing that once you eat this you can never get sick or have any sort of disease or anything like that again. I think it gives us our best chance if we're eating a variety of the things we need to eat. And that means eating a wide variety of things. But no, that's to me that's just flawed thinking when I hear that stuff about, like, people that just really think they can't get sick or can't get cancer, can't get heart disease, can't get any of these things. It's probably, like, especially if you're eating the things you should be eating the way you should be eating a raw vegan diet, it's less likely. But once again, not impossible. So don't get tripped up in the fairy tales like that. And another one we hear all the time is it's expensive. It's expensive. Well, expensive, number one, is relative. What is expensive? And number two, I think a lot of times people aren't, like, weighing that, like, comparing things equally. Like I think back to things that I ate when I ate a standard American diet. Okay, if money is a super issue, if you really, really got little bits of money, okay, maybe you were just eating some, and hey, never knocking anybody when it comes to finances, and the food system the way it is, they make stuff like that. Like, you can go to the store, for instance. I did this when I was in San Jose, Costa Rica, before I became vegan. You can go to the store and you can get a case of ramen. Like, you can get a case of ramen. You can get things like that are like cost almost nothing, where you can have a serving of ramen for like 50 cents or maybe even less than that. But that stuff is so bad. The sodium is so high, and all the stuff in that powder in there that you mix in there, terrible. Pizzas. I remember when I used to shop almost exclusively at that Walmart in Albritton, where I was living before. And, I noticed when you walk in, and it was very obvious because it was right where you walked into our Walmart, there was like this, the food was right off to the right, and the very first thing they had in there was pizzas. And they had big pizzas, like you'd have like an 18-inch, like, I forget what size is what, but I mean just massive pizzas for $7.99. You can probably feed a family of 3 on something like that, or a couple of them. So I understand why people do that. And if you're eating vegan, or if you're eating raw vegan, where it gets expensive is if you try to make all the fancy recipes and you try to eat all the fancy things you see on Instagram and in videos and all that kind of stuff. I've watched a few people's videos that are actually quite popular, and I like their stuff. I like their food. They're nice people, but I'm like, how relatable is that? Unless you're just looking at it like, some people watch the Cooking Network or the Food Channel, and you're just like, it's almost like you just like to see it. But like these recipes, besides being a lot of them full of fat, they got so many different little specialized ingredients in there. It's these little ingredients. Even me, I had to cut back on some of the things that I made in Costa Rica every day. Didn't think twice about them when I came to the States. Things that had basil in them, because I was getting like the tiniest amount of basil for like $2.25, where I could get handfuls of it for that back in Costa Rica. Red peppers, which I used a lot. Red peppers were very, very cheap back in Costa Rica. At my Walmart in Bruton, where I was living, the past several years before I came here, the red peppers were expensive, so I couldn't eat that. I couldn't eat them every day. I'd get in these kicks of making my mango red pepper sauce. So you just have to stick to the basics. Stick to the fruit. Stick to the greens. I get big bags of kale. And most stores, because I've lived in a couple of different areas, I shop at Publix down here. I've shopped at Walmart's. Almost every store I've been to, and I'm in small towns, rural areas, a little bit bigger towns, all have kales, all have bagged greens. So you do what you can do, and you just do the best that you can do. People, sometimes people say, well, organic's expensive. If you can buy organic, always buy organic. If you can't buy organic, do the best you can. And get what you can get. But yeah, don't let the expense trip you up. There's a way to learn how to do this. So anyhow, just a few of the things that I consider myths that I've heard throughout the years. And I'm sure there's more that I'll think about. I always think about something I wanted to say after I stop the video. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And I might do one Friday. Friday's Christmas Eve, but I'll probably pop something out just to connect with you guys, if nothing else. So anyhow, have a great day. Peace.